Good morning, Jeremy and Joe. Hello, everyone. The Sabres are officially eliminated from the playoffs the same day that they win again and win a fifth in a row. And just like everybody drew it up, James Reimer's won 7 straight. That's just, it's everybody knew that was going to happen. That's why the Sabres waived him earlier in the year, and nobody. Well, he went to the Ducks.
Played for the Ducks.
He played for the Ducks and got waived again. And has won 7 straight. So, yeah.
Should they have been playing him earlier?
It's a great question.
It's a question I hadn't really thought of until last night because, the season's over and he's 37 and it's like, whatever. It's end of the season stuff. But he's now playing at a point where it's like, should they have been playing him like this in December?
Well, you could.
How many games did he play during that 13-game losing streak?
You could say that they should have. Then I don't know if he had this in the tank. Aren't there more teams that might have wanted to claim him on waivers?
Right.
And again, you'd have to get rid of another goalie. Whatever. James Reimer 7 straight wins. Sabres 5 straight wins. Prior to this, Reimer had a stretch earlier in the season of 7 straight losses in appearances with the Sabres from November into February.
Well, that's not great.
No, it's not. It's not. But, hey, what are you going to do?
And he hadn't really played a lot. I'm looking at his game log last night. He had played 12 games going into March on the season.
Yeah.
Wasn't really much. Levi had played almost as many games on the year, but Reimer had been here. It was all Luukkonen, and then just... It's a little coincidental, maybe, but they've started playing him in March, and March is about when they started winning hockey games.
Yep.
So he's also at an age where you might not have believed he would have given this to you for an entire season. He would have run out of gas. Remember Craig Anderson 2 years ago?
Of course. I mean,
2 years ago, Craig Anderson was their best goaltender until Levi showed up, but he was 40, and they couldn't play him more than once a week. And maybe Reimer would have been some version of the same thing.
Yeah. Well, hey, here we are. 14 straight years, 5 straight losses. Which is more relevant? I'm sorry, 14 straight wins, yeah. Which is more relevant? Today, 14 straight years out of the playoffs, or the way they've played in the last 15 games, 20 games, 10 games, whatever you want. You can make your mark the way you want. The Sabres, of course, before this stretch, they did have a 6-game losing streak earlier, and, of course, a 13-game losing streak. They've had their streaks, but I don't get a good sense of where people are on whether or not what's happening now is meaningful. Because what I'm seeing is their star players doing star things and their goalie making saves, and I wouldn't go much farther than that. I wouldn't go to they're playing a better brand. I don't think I would. There are not games where they are dominating the opponent. Most of these games, they are making saves and scoring goals. And I mean that from what's the expected goals, what's the shot share, what's this and that. Most of these games, they are not dominating their opponent. They're just getting the stops, and they're beating the opposing goaltender.
Yeah.
That works. I mean, you watch the NCAA tournament, you could do a lot of things. How do you win? Make your shots, and your other guy misses their shots. In hockey, it's not quite as clear-cut as that sometimes, but in the numbers, you can look in there, and you'll find exactly that. Their PDO, if anyone out there likes PDO or wants PDO, save percentage plus shooting percentage, right now they are just red hot. That's what people would say is luck. So it's end of season, a little bit of luck. It feels like, Joe, if this happened in December, no one wants to hear it. It's, who cares? They're winning games. Let's do this. Let's ride this. And we would argue about whether or not it's sustainable. And when it happens in March, and then you get eliminated from the playoffs, I've got the same kind of question. Like, should Kevin Adams look at this and say, see, my team was not that bad? It's tough. I don't think it's an easy thing to wrestle with because, they won again. They beat a good team again. And that team's going to the playoffs. Meanwhile, Ottawa clinches their spot, and Montreal takes a big step towards getting there.
And Ottawa had a 7-year drought of their own, and that's over. They finally, all these bottom 4 Atlantic teams had just been... No one had made the playoffs out of the Atlantic division because I think Montreal did when there was a Canadian division, right, during COVID.
Yeah, COVID, yeah.
No one had made the playoffs out of the Atlantic division in 6 years. That wasn't one of the top 4 teams. And Ottawa finally broke through, and Montreal's probably going to break through too.
Yeah.
Montreal, I might have even thought Detroit had a shot at it. Montreal wasn't on my brain. They've been the team that's consistently been below the Sabres like every single year. They've been in last in this division.
Yep.
And they signed, like, what did they do? They signed Line.
They traded for Line.
Yeah, but he's missed games this year, I think, too. But
That's right.
But he's been good.
But the point is they made a bold move.
Yeah, they did.
Both of those teams made moves to, hey, it's time for us to get better. And this, the Sabres have done some of those moves. This year is a year where they had Zucker or whatever, if you want to say that's what that is.
And Ottawa did the move that I kind of want the Sabres to do and just don't think that there's any chance, which is their move was goalie.
Yeah.
They traded a first-round pick for Linus Ullmark. That was their move.
Yep.
And I don't think that's on the table when you have Luukkonen under contract the way you do. So I feel like the drought is definitely more meaningful than these games. Because I hear what you're saying about they're not dominating these games. They don't dominate puck possession. A lot of these games even are even. I think they rolled the Bruins. That was the one game where, to me, it looked like beginning to end.
Yep.
You're just a way better team.
But the Bruins are.
The Bruins are the worst team
right now. Yes, that is catching a glorified AHL roster.
And we kind of knew that was true all season, right? Like when they were even a spot in December, they had like a minus 30 goal differential, and it was, that team's not that good. Like they're somehow surviving, and then it actually came back to earth that you can't play like that for a whole year. And Boston fell apart.
Yep.
So not surprising. The thing about the Sabres, though, in the luck of PDO and shooting percentage, and can you sustain scoring like this when you aren't getting as many scoring chances and shot attempts as you kind of need to, is all their goals are really nice.
Yes, that's right.
They're not just scoring when a puck is a wrist shot from a point and they've a bunch of traffic in front and it goes off a knee and it goes into the net. Like, Thompson is back on highlight reel watch. Yeah, SportsCenter top 10 every night.
Tage is a video game come to life. Tage is the toe drag in the slot, roof to the corner.
Right.
The move that you pull in the game.
And it's like his fifth nicest goal in the last 2 weeks.
Yep.
But it was awesome. And Tuck is every goal. Well, Tuck scored a couple that were like deflections, but the goal he scored yesterday, he talked about it after the game. That's a set play off the faceoff. McLeod to Byram. It was like a deep pass. Like, hey, McLeod, you're gonna snap the ball back to Byram, and I'm just gonna run deep. Mm-hmm. And Byram, there's like a quarterback who hits him over the top, and he scores on a breakaway. And then what's the Peterka goal? That's just you ripped it past the goalie with a guy that has a great shot. So it definitely isn't as sustainable as it's looked. I'm just glad to see that they are capable of finishing chances, because that was a part of their story that Lindy talked about with us early in the year every week. Was I feel like we're getting chances and we can't bury them, and now they are burying them. So I don't want to go all the way with its luck, but it definitely is a team that's gotta be more consistent next year with all this stuff.
Should Sabres fans have any sort of identity crisis with what to do with it, what it means? Right now in the NHL, if you filter out goaltenders who have played 10 games, you know where James Reimer comes in?
Top
goals save above expected, top per 60.
15.
10th.
Yeah.
James Reimer has played like one of the 10 best goalies in the league in the last couple weeks. And it's like you said, Ottawa's move was they got a goalie. We thought the Sabres had a goalie. We thought Luukkonen, they extended him, and maybe you thought that was a little bit bold and a little bit early, which I think many of us did. Like, wow, 5 years, okay, I guess you've seen what you need to see, and that bottomed out. And that's happened, how many times in the 14 years has goaltending been the primary thing that bottomed them out? Is it 5? 5 times?
Out of the 14?
Out of 14. 4?
And we're going to throw out like 2 of those were because they wanted to.
Right. Geez, if you had tank goaltending, you might be good. Tank goaltending was not bad.
If you can get February 2015 Michael Neuvirth.
You want Anders Lindback is what you want.
You're a playoff team. There are Leonard years, aren't there, where they miss because of goaltending?
Sure. I mean, there's a year where
the blue line in front of him was so bad.
That's right. I feel like Tim Murray years are defined by no blue line.
Just nothing on the nothing there.
Botterill years are defined by not knowing who the good players are and bad coaches.
That's when they didn't have bad goals. I mean, Ullmark had some nice years here.
Yes, he did.
The problem, though, here that he hasn't run into as much since he left was he got injured a lot. Right, he got injured when he was here. He never played more than what do you think? What do you think his career high in games played was? Games started for the Sabres was in a season.
Ullmark?
Yeah, He was here from 2015 to 2021. What was his career high in games started?
Like 40?
34.
Yeah.
He never started more than 34 games for the Sabres. Some of that's injury. And, he was developing in the first couple of years, I guess. But this year's going to be an answer. 2 years ago that might be, to me, the most important point here. Is the year they got the closest, the number one thing was goaltending.
Yeah, because Levi came in and they needed to lean on him.
Yeah.
How different is this, other than the standings, than the Levi year? If this is the Levi year, except it's James Reimer
right?
instead.
No,
it's let's get James Reimer to keep us alive. The plan and goal has not gone as we hoped it would, so we got to lean on James Reimer.
Yeah.
Hey, credit to him. I don't know what to do with it. 803-0550, our phone number. I don't want to be Grumpy Gus that says wins at the end of the season don't matter. There have been plenty of years where I've been sitting in this chair saying these wins don't matter. If this were a McDavid, Eichel, top 3 of the draft were amazing players, I'd be mad about what's happening. Instead, whatever. It is what it is. We'll watch Boston win the lottery, and that'll be great. I don't know what to do with this. They are winning. They are fun. I do just want fun. I want to go to the arena and see Tage score sick goals and see Alex Tuck be an awesome player. I want to see all of it. I want to see Kulik and Benson and the young players and Ostlund and this promise of all these picks that they got. I want to see that grow into something and have a 5-year run where they make the playoffs 3 times and win a round, and we call it like, hey, the era where they made it a couple times. I would take that. I don't even dream of the Stanley Cup really anymore.
You would take the post-Briere-Drury Sabre run?
Yes. Yeah. 2 years. One's a division win. One is the 7 seed. I would take that in a heartbeat.
Yeah. And then you have like 2 other years where you miss.
And other steps like that. So I don't want to poo-poo anything like that, but I find myself in the spot where this was supposed to be a year where they fix it. It's kind of like as Kevin Adams is in charge, and I don't think everything that's gone wrong is his fault, but man, it's been a long time for him. He's on his 3rd coach. Mm-hmm. 3rd coach. And
it'll be his 6th season next year?
Yes. And it's almost to say if you give any GM 10 years, they're going to make it. And if it happens in year 6, you don't exactly get to give credit there. The system is built where you're supposed to make it. You're supposed to get in. So I just don't know what to do with it. I don't want to treat it like it's worthless. I do want to have fun. I do want these games to be meaningful. If they were still in the race and it wasn't some miracle they had to win 8 in a row and Montreal has to lose 8 in a row, maybe we could have had a good time. We tried Operation 10 straight. We tried Lindy's plan.
Well, they might get to Operation 10 straight and they haven't gotten any closer.
Right.
That's the funny thing.
Well, the problem is they played poorly ahead of it.
Yeah,
Operation 10 straight was just get to a spot where you can play like a normal team.
Right. They never got closer than 8. I think 8 points.
I just don't know what we're supposed to do with it. They stayed in the race. They won a bunch. Half of the reason they're still in it is because the race was the easiest race in 10 years. The 8 spot is low. Some years the 8 spot is 100 points.
Yeah.
So I don't know what to do with it. It's a golf tournament where the cut was easy to make and they were out with 10 holes to play.
Yeah. I think maybe what you're just supposed to do with it is the bar is so painfully low. 14 years now it is officially. 14 years. They are 4 years past the NHL record. Like they're 40% past the NHL record at this point. So the bar is so low. I actually said on the air a month and a half ago that the bar for the team the rest of the year is just don't have people leaving the arena mad.
Yeah, well,
they have smashed that.
Yes, because the home record is awesome. They win at home. We have a good time.
They haven't lost since the first week of March at home, and they've lost 4 since the new year at home. So they've accomplished that. I think maybe what you're supposed to do with it is just I don't know. You're supposed to be as happy as you can. Be as happy as you can with anything you can get. Just grab on to any sign of hope for dear life. And even though it might be a flawed sign of hope, because they're not perfect in this stretch, and a lot of it is goaltending, and a lot of it is capitalizing on chances when you're not always getting the most chances. It's something. That's it. It's something to grab hold of.
I'll get some calls in here. 803-0550. It might be a loaded question, but like, what's more relevant today? The way they're playing, or that they're going to miss again? They missed. Not even going to miss. They missed. They've been officially eliminated. Kind of bittersweet. Maybe you're at the game and you had a good time, and then as you walk out, like, oh, Montreal won. Oh, okay, it's over. There have been days where they get eliminated with 2 games left in the season, or 1 game left in the season. And this is with, 5 games left, but really, I mean, their chances to make it were less than 1% for most of the year. So you can give us a call, 803-0550. Before we get to calls, here's the schedule for today. Sal's coming up at 7. He had his yearly conversation with Mike North, the scheduling guy, his scheduling podcast, to talk about the upcoming schedule release, which is probably about a month away. So we'll talk to Sal about what he learned there and tell you where you can grab that podcast, he and Matt Beauvais and Mike North. Also today, Paul joins us at 8:30, talk about the Sabres. And then on the Bills and the draft, Joe Marino of the Locked On Bills podcast and Locked On NFL Scouting, he joins us at 8. And at 9, Matt Waldman, rookie scouting portfolio. Both of these guys, Joe and Matt, I'm going to ask about running back. I'm going to entertain the madness that you, Joe, and some out there that's probably not that crazy, are saying, just get a back to fill in for James Cook. The draft, we're ready for it. If you want to do it, you could just do it.
It's a loaded draft class.
I might as well explore all opportunities.
Do you want to cash out that bet now?
Which one?
Running back versus linebacker?
Definitely no.
I feel good though about my side of the bet right now.
Larry in South Florida leads us off today. Hey, Larry.
Hey, good morning, guys. So to answer your YouTube survey, I mean, it's fun watching them now, but the pressure's off. It's not even close. You're right. It's a loaded question. So, Jeremy, back in 2015, you and I both made the trip to Florida to watch that draft, the draft Eichel. And I was sitting in the upper deck, and I can't remember if it was announced, the O'Reilly trade, I came through on my phone before they announced Eichel or after.
It was like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Within 5 minutes of the Eichel pick.
So was the Leonard trade. Both trades were before the Eichel pick.
I think Leonard, though, was way earlier in the day.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, but the O'Reilly was like minutes before Eichel
and
pick.
O'Reilly was speculated to be like coming, yes, now it's final, they did it.
Because I remember you guys were at the draft. I was in the arena, and I remember being at the arena getting ready for like the Eichel pick, and news is like spreading very organically through that crowd. They're like, oh, they just traded for Ryan O'Reilly. Yeah. So that was like minutes before.
Yeah, so when it became official, I stood up, raised both my hands, and made 2 fists, and I proclaimed, within 2 years, we will be battling for the Stanley Cup. Now, this was 2015.
Yeah.
Right? So that's 10 years ago. And people looked at me, they go, what the hell are you talking about? Your team's awful. I said, we just got Ryan O'Reilly. And they went, oh, crap. And then I believe it was either that year or the year after. You guys will probably know. I don't remember what hockey media site came out with. We are the number 1 team with prospects. And within 5 years, right, I said 2 years. They said within 5 years, we will be competing for the Stanley Cup.
Yeah, they were on the cover of the Hockey News as your 2020, I want to say your 2020 Stanley Cup champions, or 2021. Right. They were on the cover of the Hockey News because they were so set up to have success.
Yeah, so think about that. That's 5 years predicted after the Eichel draft. We're 5 years past that, and we've only sniffed the playoffs once. And like you just said, on a down year, when it's so easy to get into the playoffs, we still can't. We still can't get in the top 50%. You're right. It's like, so the only thing I'm hoping for now, and I'm going to watch, and now that we're moving up in the standings, of course, we're knocking ourselves out of the number 1 pick, but there's no generational hockey player coming out this year. But I'm just rooting for Thompson to get 50 and Tuck to get 40.
Yeah.
That's what I'm pulling for. Unfortunately, I did a huge parlay bet. All of it came through, except Thompson needed 3 shots. He only got 2, and I hit on everything else. So it keeps biting me. But I need to see this team make the playoffs. I'm 61 years old now, and I really want a championship from one of these teams.
Well, Larry, I guess the question is, do you think they're closer than they were at the start of the year to making it? Even though they missed.
Yeah, but
are they closer than they were a year ago?
I think so, because they're finally getting goaltending. Like you said, our problem has been goaltending for how long? But Reimer's how old now?
That's what I say. What does goaltending right now mean for next year, and whether James Reimer's on the roster, let alone if he is at 37, that he's going to be able to replicate what he's doing right now over what? How many games?
Who knows?
30?
It's Craig Anderson 2.0 on some level. Larry, thanks. We're going to get to a break. One quick aside on there's no generational player. No one wants to hear this point. We're exhausted of picks. Leon Draisaitl went 3 in a year where there was no consensus number 1. Just, hey, picking at the top is always a good idea. Ekblad, Reinhart, Draisaitl, Bennett. Those are good players.
Yep.
You got them for free. Edmonton got the 3rd pick in a non-generational year, and he's darn good. So I always, whenever
the MVP favorite.
When we went through the whole tank, it doesn't even matter if it's a good year. You want to pick there. You really do. You always want to. 803-0550. But I'm not doing that today. I'm not doing that. I haven't done it all year. I'm not doing it. It's not a thing.
You don't even know the name of the guy.
Michael Misa is the guy that
okay, maybe he does know the name of the guy.
James James
Higgins and Porter Martone.
Porter Martone. I just mixing the names, yeah. They're going to be probably good.
Higgins is another one.